Hey, welcome to another segment of Managing Information Systems. Hi, Billy. Cindy.
Hi, Professor Crane.
Today we'll begin our examination of the New York Yankees Case Study, and in doing so, we'll drill down and uncover many of the possible issues that they were facing. The 2008 season was best known for being the final season for the old Yankee Stadium. That year, the Yankees hosted the All-Star game in which the American League won. Now, that's not to say without a few extra innings. In review of many of their own tribulations, we'll use our own analysis in developing a group hypothesis of what and where it all went wrong. In this particular chapter, I do believe you'll find it had a lot to offer, as I'm sure it'll keep us all very interested throughout our discoveries. Sound good?
Oh yeah, let's get started, Professor Crane.
Okay, Billy, in reading this case, I'm positive you found a wide range of issues, which led the organization to make a major change. Therefore, my question is to you, what were some of the issues that the Yankees were facing?
Professor Crane, I noticed that the ticket sales were declining, which I'm thinking that would mean they should review their operational expenditures in developing some kind of budgetary plan.
That may have been one important thing, but the worst combination imaginable was that salaries were increasing at the same time.
Absolutely. You both were on the right track. So let me ask, what would be the cause of the ticket sales to decline?
Professor Crane, I think it had a lot to do with customers losing interest in an outdated stadium. You know, I did some research and found New York Mets, they just completed a new stadium, and many fans enjoyed going to a new stadium instead of revisiting a piece of history.
Well, Billy, I did some research myself and established that many polls were conducted, and it was uncovered that the Yankee fans, well, they were cheating and going to watch the Mets. Not to mention some of them were even attending the Washington National games, as each stadium was brand new in both cases. Both teams were experiencing an increase in ticket sales. Within these polls, they also found the reason why Yankee fans were visiting their competitors. As stated, they enjoyed the different food offerings, technology associated to the game, and of course the price of the ticket didn't hurt either. The Yankees were ranked 3, and I don't mean in total strikeouts or even home runs, but for the cost of the average ticket at $37. While Boston and Chicago, yeah, they were tied for first, providing their customer with an average ticket price of $48. Nevertheless, New York Mets tickets were cheaper than that of the Yankees, averaging $34, which we can't forget, this included a new stadium and better viewing seats. Now, not to leave out the Washington Nationals, they were enjoying the increase of ticket sales as well, because they offered an average ticket price of $25.
Because Yankee Stadium was so old, could we not believe that they had an old information system as well to match?
Why would you think the system was old, Cindy?
Well, because both general and private suite tickets were declining. They were not collecting enough information about their customers relevant to individual purchases to begin a marketing campaign, nor to make better decisions on marketing the team.
Yeah, I think Cindy's right, Professor Crane, because without an updated system, this really could affect many relationships in making better decisions. I mean, without being able to process data into meaningful information, they would be missing out on many opportunities.
Absolutely. You know, Billy, you just shine more light on another set of problems. You mentioned 3 key components: meaningful information, relationships in making decisions, and opportunities. You know, Billy, the real backbone of decision-making activities is to build or compile useful information from a combination of raw data, documents, and yes, even our own personal knowledge in developing a desirable output. With high-quality information, we can build business models supported by IT objectives, which, by the way, allows us to identify and solve problems. Likewise, we're able to focus on the hypothetical and practical aspects of achieving a solid information base for decision-making. I'll give you an example. We can expand our forecast in an array of important areas, our departments, and perform a trend analysis in developing new insight from raw data that is processed into meaningful information. You know, Billy, much in contrast to what we do in school, many organizations utilize bar charts, pie charts, and other passive visual displays of data, which, by the way, is an extension of needing information and solving business problems. Now, without information, I think you'll agree that information decisions simply cannot be made. You need to consider the business process to better understand what it is the organization wants to achieve. An example, the Yankees, they would need to ask themselves such questions as, who is our target audience? And what are their needs and wants? How about our competition? What are they doing? How do we stay ahead of them? Now in regards to opportunities, Billy, if the Yankees had the ability to develop meaningful information from raw data, maintain and enable the expansion of their databases, this would create the capabilities of developing data relationships, which in fact would greatly improve the organizational opportunities. Now let's talk about salary issues.
I would think we would audit players' salaries to meet the needs of the organization.
Let's just do that, Cindy. Let's review the payroll issues. Let's start with the Yankees had a 31-player roster, and the Yankees were known for being the highest paid team in the league for 8 consecutive seasons. Likewise, one player in particular, by the name of Alex Rodriguez, was paid a cool $28 million per season. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We all wish we could make that kind of money. Well, we're not alone. Many players felt the same way. For example, the Florida Marlins, who had a 33-player roster and had a payroll of only $21.8 million in total. Wow, that's less than what Alex Rodriguez made. In comparisons to the Marlins, the total payroll for the Yankees, well, now that reached $209 million, which is approximately 87% more than the Marlins.
Professor Crane, that's why New York Yankees remain at the top of the list in wins. And they do that by paying top dollar for great players.
Billy, I think there's a little misconception in that, because in 2008, the New York Yankees, well, they were nowhere to be found. In fact, they didn't even make it to the playoffs. No, it was the year of the Tampa Bay Rays and the Philadelphia Phillies in deciding the World Series. Now, that was a game to remember, of course, if you're a Phillies fan. Now, truly, what was so amazing, other than the game itself, was the total payroll for each team. In case you don't remember, it was the Phillies that went on to win the World Series. But it was the Rays' payroll that became so interesting, as they were the 29th team out of 30 in total payroll expenditures, equaling $43.8 million. Meanwhile, the Phillies held on to the 12th spot in total payroll at $98.2 million, which, if you haven't already figured it out, that's 2 times the amount of the Rays. So the question's always been asked, who made it to the World Series the most efficient way? In view of the technology issues, if the Yankees had an up-to-date information system with more capabilities to process data, run accurate reports in developing business intelligence from an array of several different resources, I would suspect that their decision-making process would be much more superior, thereby enabling both the efficiency and effectiveness to ensure an increase in profitability.
Professor Crane, I don't think the Yankees really had any type of method of processing customer information during ticket purchases. If they did, they would be able to track their sales by demographics, such as zip codes, track people by age, and reference to what games they normally buy, and how many people in their group at a time when they make the purchases.
You're so right, Billy. They could target market customers by zip code with coupons to ensure a larger return on their advertisement investment. And they can also run reports indicating total tickets sold per game, types of food sold during the game, and the amount of people in age groups that bought merchandise. With this type of information, they can compare the needs of the food, team supplies, and other types of merchandise to each game, and that of the opposing team.
And you know what? That leads us right back to them operating with a legacy system to avoid cost of upgrading.
So with that being said, Cindy, we should review our collective analysis in digging into all the things that actually contribute to the problems. In view of our collective analysis, 1, we believe the problem began with poor business processing capabilities, a reflection of utilizing a legacy system with an unsupportive culture to welcome in major change. 2, many of their problems seemingly were related to aging hardware and software, inadequate database capabilities to develop relationships between their datasets and creating meaningful information. Now, that's not to mention, they didn't seem to have the telecommunications throughout the stadium to share this information. Finally, old systems usually are a reflection of outdated users, with no training available by the organization to ensure a level of knowledge regarding the needs of the system and in making decisions. For example, many managers are betting with their gut or utilizing the corporate wallet, instead of gaining knowledge how the system can possibly enable them to make better decisions. Well, we finally reached a point to begin our evaluation of the requirements in making a major change, and the evaluation of the decisions that they made to ensure success. We'll continue with our conversation on the subject matter relevant to our discoveries in our next segment. In the meantime, you be safe, have a great day, and thank you for joining us.